A secret war right on our doorstep. West Papuan activists are fighting for independence from Indonesia like never before. Jakarta is cracking down hard, cutting communications and banning foreign media. But we've managed to get inside, where a long-running insurgency has reignited. This is the story Indonesia doesn't want the world to know. We start our journey in Port Moresby, where the Morning Star flag, the symbol of West Papuan independence, is being celebrated. Musician Ronnie Kareni wears the colours with pride.
For me, it represents my people and the significance of how many people have suffered or died or imprisoned just for that Morning Star flag.
Ronnie fled from West Papua nearly 40 years ago and now lives in Australia. The performers are drumming up support for their compatriots across the border. In Indonesian-controlled West Papua, flying this flag can get you arrested or worse.
It makes what we are fighting for and representing that Morning Star becomes so significant that it is something that we will die for.
The band Sarong Samurai sings the soundtrack of the independence struggle. It calls for the island of New Guinea to be one nation, from Sorong in the west to Samurai in the east. While Papua New Guinea is independent, West Papua is part of Indonesia.
One people, one culture, one ancestor.
The outspoken governor of Port Moresby, Pauls Parkop, is urging Papua New Guineans and the international community to support West Papuan independence.
I have chosen and I am committed not to live in fear anymore. To be courageous and to be brave. And to tell the truth. This is our weapon of choice. Papua! 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 Papua!
The voices for change are growing louder, but can they undo the past? The western side of New Guinea was given to Indonesia in a deal brokered by the UN. In 1969, Indonesia held a ballot called the Act of Free Choice, but they only selected just over 1,000 West Papuans to vote and then declared a unanimous victory. There's been conflict ever since, bloodshed and human rights abuses. It still overshadows the lives of many West Papuans. Fly River is one of the biggest in Papua New Guinea. It makes up part of the border with Indonesian-controlled Papua. For Tony Sapiopa, getting out on the water is a chance to forget his troubles for a short while.
Are there many families living by the river?
Yeah. These young people, they are West Papuans.
Right.
But they've been, crossing the border for so many years.
Tony is one of thousands of West Papuan refugees living along the border in PNG.
I sometimes feel depressed because of the situation that we are facing here. Especially the government of Papua New Guinea is not really looking after the refugees here. And that's what sometimes makes us feel angry, feel frustration, feel depressed. But I think the only dream that we have is, to fight for our freedom.
Tony has a makeshift house near the riverbank.
Yes.
How long have you been living here for?
I left Iwara, this camp.
He lives with his 71-year-old widowed mother, Estefine.
Mom, this is Sally.
The family fled West Papua in 1984 because of unrest.
Sudah 35 tahun kami hidup di negeri ini, Papua New Guinea, dengan berbagai kesulitan, kekurangan. Kami mengalami kesakitan sampai pada kematian.
Estefine sells fried banana to earn a small living.
Yang menjadi titik tolak kami ingin kembali ke negeri kami di tanah Papua.
Before she became a refugee, she was a teacher in West Papua. Her husband worked for a UN agency. The family was middle class.
I used to tell her that it's okay, don't cry, because of your aim, because of your dream for your homeland to be free, that's why you took us here. So you don't need to cry. Just wait patiently, struggle, and then you will see the result of it.
It's an impossible choice to endure a lack of freedom in West Papua or live in poverty in Papua New Guinea. Tony is part of a lost generation, lacking education and opportunity. The rest of the family has returned, and Estefine wonders if it's better to go back too, but her health is failing.
Saya minta, mohon sampaikan isi hati penyampaian saya. Saya mau merdeka, saya mau pulang. Saya tidak mau lagi tinggal di negeri orang. Saya orang Papua mau kembalikan, mau ambil kembali saya punya negeri dan tanah dan bangsa.
Tiada lain, hanya kebebasan. I eagerly want to go to West Papua and fight instead of wasting my time here. So, because that's the only dream I have. That's the only dream that I still carry on. That I hope that one day West Papua will be free.
When there's trouble in West Papua, it's felt here across the border in Kayunga. It's one of the biggest towns in this part of Western Province. This is the place that asylum seekers try to reach for safety. The latest arrivals are being processed on the outskirts of town.
This is the camp behind me where the new arrivals are being housed. We have a media visa to be here in PNG that's been approved all the way from the Prime Minister's office, and it includes permission to speak with people who have crossed over the border. But local officials are not allowing us to go inside the camp or to hear the stories of these people who fled during last year's unrest.
These are the first pictures of the more than 100 men, women and children who crossed the border last November. No one from the PNG government here will give us an interview. Off camera, they say they want to protect their relationship with Indonesia. Last year, the world got a rare glimpse of tensions erupting in West Papua. These videos shared online show Papuan students being surrounded by Indonesian mobs and racially abused. Thousands of people took to the streets across West Papua demanding an end to racism and crying Papua Merdeka, freedom for Papua. Students marched in solidarity, but Indonesia's then Security Minister, former General Wiranto, rejected the calls.
Dialog itu penting, ya. Dialog itu memang dibutuhkan. Tapi dialog yang konstruktif. Kita sudah menutup pintu untuk dialog referendum, nggak ada. Ya. Dialog untuk merdeka, jangan.
Peaceful protests soon turned violent. More than 6,000 Indonesian soldiers and police were deployed. This video shows police shooting at unarmed civilians. Indonesia says it was in self-defence. Pro-Indonesia militia groups joined the fight. The region descended into the bloodiest unrest in decades. Hundreds of protesters were detained. An internet blackout was enforced across the region. We're on our way to a secret meeting. One of the activists on the top of Indonesia's most wanted list has agreed to an interview. He's crossed the border illegally into Papua New Guinea. Finally, we reach a safe house. Victor Yemo arrives in the early hours of the morning. How much do you worry for your safety at the moment in West Papua?
Along my life, I worry about my life. Not only me, I worry about my people's lives. All the people in West Papua worry about their life. There is no future for people in West Papua today. I grown up with Savur. I born with Savur. And I live with Savur.
Victor Yemo is the leader of a growing West Papuan civil resistance movement and was a key organiser of last year's protests.
People of West Papua, for us, it's better for us to fight before dying, for our dignity. It is better than just sit down and give up, be silent and be killed, occupied by Indonesia. So fighting is something, duty is a role of young generation like me.
Victor Yemo is urging Australia to support West Papuan independence.
If you can do for East Timor, you can do the same thing with the West Papuan people. Humanity is more important So please, I believe that the people of Australia today, the care of us, you will be remembered by the generation of West Papua. You will become a part of history of our nation.
Independence, 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 independence.
After last year's unrest, Indonesia banned foreign media in West Papua. But one journalist is determined to get the story out. Victor Mambor is the editor of a West Papuan newspaper. He reported on the 2019 demonstrations.
Is it dangerous for you to get some of these stories?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
With an Indonesian mother and West Papuan father, he's trusted by both sides.
Maybe I am one of them. Lucky journalist because I can work in the Papuan side, but also in the Indonesian side. This is my advantage to help my people.
He's been doing what we can't, filming inside West Papua for Foreign Correspondent.
How important is it for the world to know what's happening in West Papua?
I think it's very important to the world to know what happened in West Papua because the human rights abuses happen every day and every place. Yeah?
Victor Mambor travelled to West Papua's remote Central Highlands. There's long been unrest here. But the fighting between separatists and Indonesian forces has intensified. The recent conflict started here in the district of Nduga, causing a humanitarian disaster. Local officials say 45,000 people have been displaced. Victor is meeting Raga Kagoya, a Highlander helping those who've fled.
Kalau di tempat ini 38 kakak dan 220 jiwa. Anak-anak lebih banyak dari orang tua. Dari sejak tahun 2018, bulan Juli itu sudah tidak mendata lagi yang meninggal. Karena meninggalnya satu hari, 1 sampai dan 5, 1 sampai dan 6 begitu. Anak, orang dewasa, ibu-ibu.
The construction of this road triggered the current fighting, a 4,000-kilometre link called the Trans-Papuan Highway. Jakarta says it will bring economic opportunity and improve living standards. But many West Papuans fear Indonesia will use it to take land, exploit natural resources and destroy local culture.
Mereka membutuhkan alam kekayaan, tapi mereka tidak membutuhkan manusia Papua.
In December 2018, a group of West Papuan independence fighters ambushed and slaughtered at least 16 Indonesian road workers. Indonesia retaliated with a security offensive to capture those responsible.
Terus dikejar lah ya. Di negeri ini tidak ada satu kekuatan bersenjata yang dikasah, ya, yang hanya melakukan pembunuhan, melakukan pengacauan. Di negara manapun juga ada, kita kejar, kita habisi mereka. Jangan sampai jangan sampai mengganggu kepentingan negara yang besar ini.
Foreign Correspondent has obtained exclusive video of the aftermath of Indonesia's operation. It shows houses burnt to the ground and villages abandoned. Thousands of locals fled to the jungle for safety, some only venturing out to bury the dead. Others suffered severe injuries in the attack. Allegations of chemical weapons have surfaced, a claim Indonesia strenuously denies. Human rights groups estimate that more than 200 West Papuans have died. Irian Kagoya witnessed the violence and is still traumatised.
Mereka punya helikopter di atas terbang dan kasih turun bom. Masyarakat juga membunuh, tangkap dan kasih siksa, kasih sendiri bikin kolam, tempat kolam baru, kasih bunuh, kasih tidak apa, sembunyi di tempat.
Indonesia denies using bombs but admits grenades were launched during the military operation. Last year, human rights workers discovered this grave containing the bodies of 3 Papuan women and 2 children who had allegedly been shot dead. Activists want the United Nations to investigate events in Nduga. Indonesia's former Security Minister Wiranto and the Indonesian ambassador to Australia declined our requests for an interview. In a written statement, they blame separatists for the violence and say Indonesian security forces respect and promote human rights. They say only 2,000 civilians were affected by the situation in Nduga.
Tidak akan mundur, tidak akan lari. Kami berjuang sampai pengakuan jatuh. Kami minta merdeka. Kami ingin berpisah diri dari negara kesatuan atau negara Indonesia.
These are the rebels that Indonesia is hunting. 19-year-old Commander Egyanis Kagoya and his soldiers. These pictures show children in the ranks. Raga is Egyanis Kagoya's cousin, and she says the use of child soldiers is a new and tragic part of the conflict.
Saat ini yang mereka perang, di bawah pimpinan Egyanis Kagoya itu adalah anak-anak memang. Umur 14 tahun sampai dengan 20 tahun sampai dengan 26. Yang 30 tahun tidak ada. Karena mereka ini bukan didaftarkan, mereka hadir, suruh datang untuk ikut atau dipanggil oleh Egyanis, tidak. Tapi di mana pernah ada orang tua dapat tembak, bapaknya dapat tembak, disiksa, kemudian meninggal. Dan setelah melihat langsung keluar. Dan anak sekolah banyak orang juga yang keluar, anak-anak juga keluar ikut perang.
Raga has opened her home in the main town of Wamena to care for children orphaned by the conflict. The children are severely traumatised and too scared to reveal their identity for fear of reprisal.
Itu mereka pas turun bom pertama, baru mereka bunuh sa bapak.
Waktu kau dengar pertama itu bagaimana? Rasa bagaimana?
Sakit hati. Harus tanggung jawab negara membunuh sa bapak. Kenapa saya harus berteriak kepada dunia atau lebih khusus kepada wartawan, kepada media? Karena begini, kalau saya tidak berteriak, semakin lemah, semakin sukunya akan habis. Karena dibunuh, dibantai itu seperti binatang.
The spokesperson for the armed wing of the West Papuan independence movement is now based in PNG. Sebi Sambon is a former political prisoner. He fled across the border in 2013. Will you kill again?
We, of course. Before independence, we will kill. We will fight, continue fight. No compromise.
And he defends the use of child soldiers, even though it's banned under international law. He says it's the result of decades of repression and an estimated 100,000 deaths under Indonesian rule.
When their parents been to kill, their mother been to kill, and then they grow up to like 12 years to 15 years, they will become the soldier.
Victor Yemo from the civil movement says they're committed to peaceful action, but defends the right of Papuans to take up arms.
They are not terrorists. They are not troublemakers. They are not criminal. They are originally freedom fighters.
All of them people, while them hurting outside, they falling. Taking all this propaganda from Babylon, they feeding. Yeah, how waste proceed with caution. Because them real slick, it moves aren't seen very often. Them a try to cover up, but them line are straight. They disguising any...
On Papua New Guinea's north coast, the town of Vanimo sits close to the border. It's a popular tourist spot for surfers from around the world. Life is peaceful here, but for musician Ronnie Kareni, this place is full of memories.
There is a lot of pain that my family has gone through, and even my own immediate family. But one thing that we also came to realize is the memory of suffering.
Ronnie was a refugee here for 7 years as a child. His family was one of thousands who fled West Papua due to political unrest.
Growing up in a refugee camp in Vanimo, it's the survival of the fittest, and it's living in limbo.
Okay. So here we are.
So this is the border up here.
We're coming up to the border.
Oh yeah.
Papua New Guinea and Indonesia.
Oh, there it is. Wow. I think we get so close. We've travelled to the official border checkpoint between Indonesia and PNG. Normally a busy trade route, today it's closed because of coronavirus.
I'm feeling emotional, especially where I know the land is one. It's like I'm already in my homeland, in West Papua. Although the fence behind me will separate me, but I'm home. This is more, I feel like I'm home.
Many families are split by the border.
Across.
Ronnie's aunt, Dorothy Tekwe, lives on the Papua New Guinean side.
My great-grandmother is from the other side of the border. So we see our relatives on the other side, while they enjoy certain economic benefits brought by Indonesia, there are other things that they don't enjoy that we enjoy.
Activism runs in the family. Dorothy is a long-time human rights and environmental campaigner.
It is time the world look at what is happening in this little spot. Just because we are black and we happen to be Melanesians and we don't have tanks, we don't have fighter jets, that you forget that there are people on this island that are suffering like that. Something has to be done.
One people, one soul, one destiny. Sorong Samurai. One people, one soul, one destiny.
The battle for independence continues, and the dream of West Papuan freedom.
Morning Star is our vision, our mission, our destination. Along the night, there will be sunrise in the morning. And the people of West Papua hope that one day the morning star will rise up.
One man, one kundu, satu orang, satu tifa, suara nenek moyang kita, Papua, tanah kami. Bring your weapon of choice, come back again, like an East Coast boomerang. Wamena, Tubia, Serui, Manokwari, Tivika, Merauke, Jayapura.